Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody's festival going?
Good morning.
I'm here to talk about Once Upon a River, which is the New York premiere. You hear it? Is it New York? Because you premiered, right?
This is
I
our New
remember.
York premiere.
Yeah. Where was the world premiere again? We talked about it last night, I think.
We premiered in Bentonville as the centerpiece film there.
Okay. Bentonville?
Yeah.
Where's that?
In Arkansas.
I know. Don't correct me. I know where all the festivals are. I'm a festival guy. Haroula Rose is the director of Once Upon a River here at the Woodstock Film Festival, 2019, 20th anniversary festival. And it's nice to sit down. We met at originally at a party in the Lower East Side. It was a very cool spot to be.
That was a very cool
East Village.
party. Yeah.
It was, actually. And I'm like one of my musical heroes walks into the room. I mean it. When she's friends with Joseph Arthur. I guess I'm friendly with Joseph Arthur now. And I'm like, would you be interested in coming on my podcast? I do a film podcast, but I love bring on musicians even more, I think. So, if possible. So he was like, oh, yeah, sure. So a week later, we were in his apartment podcasting. He's playing some music for me. It was wonderful.
And now you inspired him to start his own podcast.
Yeah, now we have one more podcaster competing for people's attention. Anyway, if you don't know his music, we'll write his name down because he is
amazing.
He's one of the great talents. And maybe possibly even a better painter. And
I love his multimedia performance. He's very unique. It's so inspiring.
Oh, he's done painting on stage. I've been to shows where he's done painting on stage between songs, if possible.
He'll start a song and then go into a painting, and then by the end he'll have made his way well through a whole new piece.
And it's all great. It's not like he's doing just splatter stuff. But let me not ignore my other two guests. Coby and Gosss, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And Kenadi DelaCerna, yes. Welcome. You're the lead in the film. You wrote the film?
I did. It's based on a novel. I wrote the script.
Oh, what was the novel?
Once Upon a River.
So where'd you get the name for the movie?
I love that title. I can't take credit for that title.
No, it is a good title.
Yeah.
But did you know the author? How did you have to get the rights to it and legally?
Yeah, it was a process. So Bonnie Jo Campbell's the writer, and she also went to the University of Chicago. And I was reading. I know this is so geeky, but I was reading our alumni magazine, and there's this little blurb about like a book that had come out by this writer who was an alum, and there's something about the expression in her eyes in the photograph. Before I even really read what the book was about, where I'm like, ooh, I bet she's an interesting storyteller. Yes. And then I read what it was about, and then I read the book that weekend twice, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the first feature I want to make because it encompasses so many things that I wanted to do and learn and tell.
And then you read the book, obviously, and lived up to the photo on the book.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's become a really good friend. And,
that's nice, too.
She was like, hey, you want to tell a story about the river? Come and meet me by the river, and we'll talk about it. And we were just, like, finishing each other's sentences and getting along very well. And there's a lot that happens in the film, as you saw, and we were seeing things all in the same light in terms of Margo's experience and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And then it came time to cast the film, right?
Yeah, figuring out rights is tough, especially when you don't have money up front or a studio backing you. So it just took some negotiating, and then writing of the script, it took time, and then finally getting to the place where you have money in the bank and all these things are happening, and then casting is crucial, if not the most important thing. And finding Kenadi was amazing because she was hard to find, like the perfect person who was old enough but young enough, but all of these inhabiting all those qualities of that character, and finding someone like Coby who plays a very complicated role but doesn't play it in a way that's like all dark. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like letting you make your own judgment calls on things.
Right. In other words, a nuanced performance.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't know if I've told you this, but I don't think I would have auditioned for this had I looked on the email that my agent sent, and it had been a male director. I honestly don't think I would have, because he's such a complicated character, and I knew that with a female director there would be more care and more nuance there.
Right,
and you lived up to that for sure.
Right. It's in other words, it could be a sticky, like finding the right tone is really important for this film, sure. And the relationships are really important. It has to breathe. You have to kind of find the characters and their motivations and their natures. You can't flash over that.
It's true. It was a lot of, I would say that also editing doesn't get talked about enough in terms of like your final writing of the script or rewriting, if you will. You find what moments don't even need dialogue anymore, or what might not be working performance-wise. It works better non-verbally. So it's a whole process of writing and creating and then rewriting and making it all work. And finding the pace of it was interesting. Editing takes a while.
Are you editing as you shoot? Like at least kind of pre-editing.
Definitely. But then you just don't know until you're in there, and then you see, oh, this doesn't work, and you just have to be pretty ruthless about like, well, it's not working and I can't save it, so bye.
Kenadi.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you in almost every scene in this film? Is it?
I think so, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. It's pretty demanding, right? Do you have a theater background or an acting background?
Yeah.
Okay.
I come from a theater background for sure. Love the theater ever since I was like little, like really little. I'm still little.
Well.
And then I went to a conservatory for film acting and kind of fell in love. It was New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts.
Okay. Yeah. And you auditioned for this role, I assume? That's how you found all your actors, Haroula, right?
Yeah, they actually found me on Backstage, and I got an email. Yeah, and I sent in a self-tape, and and then I heard back like an hour later.
What?
Yeah, they were in like this huge rush to find someone, and
were you down to the wire or something? Is that what was going on?
Well, literally, we were going to have to pull the plug on the whole thing if we waited another day or two, because we had no idea where this lead girl was, and every other role was cast, and almost every other role, but it was really stressful because I was very picky and no one was right, and then we got this tape, and I thought, well, we'll just do double duty and go to New York and do a screen test with this girl. She has to carry the film, as you said. She's in every scene, so it had to be somebody who would appeal to all of us, and on a deep level, it's pretty profound. She has to have like a sort of inner light because she goes through some really difficult things, and so I wanted to screen test her and test out lenses with my cinematographer. So we did double duty on that and called Kenadi in, and she thought she might be murdered because we were like,
Oh, it was because it was like, don't tell anybody you're coming. That's probably not a wise thing to say. Right?
I mean, it was just
it was so,
come to this address.
So weird. Yeah, they were like an hour later after I sent it, they were like,
That's
hey,
exciting.
so
It's
the
almost
director's going to come see you, fly out from Chicago to New York. And I was like,
and now you have this film real. That you're the star of, and you can got this in your pocket, so you write your own future now. And it's called And Once Upon a River premiered last night, or yesterday afternoon, I should say, right? In Saugerties. How was that screening, by the way?
Oh, it was great.
Great. They laughed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the right moments, I hope?
In the right moments.
They got it, in other words, right? It's interesting that what? Nobody can hear you.
It was also just really full, and
that's always
people
helpful.
asked very thoughtful questions, and we were nervous because we were like, it's in Saugerties, and it's at 3 p.m., so thank you, everyone who came. You're awesome. That was lovely, and we had the best time. Yeah.
Well, it is. There's a lot of hunger for arts in this area, and there are a lot of artists that live out here, so there's a lot of support in both ways, so that's great though. But I was like in Camden, Maine at a festival a few weeks ago.
I heard that's a great festival.
And it's just like every screening had this great crowd in Camden. It's not exactly a hugely populated part of the country, but it's that's why I'm saying get rid of these. I just said this to the other folks that were here. I said, just give me a week. Take all the all the superhero movies out of the theater. We'll wait till the Joker's over because that's probably, I hear, very good. But no, and just put it for a week. Put in Once Upon a River and other films like that. Character-driven, story-driven films. Give them access to the good ones. let them watch them, and show them how their life, how it embellishes people's lives in the most positive way. I honestly believe that we're suffering from that in terms of movies. You know, I mean, yes, these are on TV, but a lot of people don't know what to look for. I'm digressing. I apologize. And what was your experience, Coby, on the film? What was the set like? What is a Haroula set?
So collaborative, so supportive, and I know that those are things that actors say about directors, but this was for real. Uh-huh. She really listened to my ideas.
Really?
I think there was a moment. I know that it was written in the moment of the party where I think I called you and I said it was really important to me that you see that my character loves his wife. And that you see, and I think at that point, did you add in the dance, or was the dance already there?
It's just always nice to hear people's thoughts. I mean, that's why I like to think of people as partners and
collaborators.
Yeah, it's really nice to be taught these new ideas and talk about them. Like we wanted to see them dancing, but it was just nice to hear you say that, because it was like, okay, we're seeing this eye to eye. Like, you don't really want to tell people how to feel or show them or be didactic. So everyone's complicated, right? I mean, people do bad things or questionable things, but does that make them all bad? You know, so that's kind of what we were going for, I think, and making him feel more fully a person.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of every character too, one reason I loved this script is because we all do really questionable things, and none of us, I mean, while others might be seen like worse or have done like worse things than some of the other characters, I think we all do questionable things, and it's all, we're on this like moral gray ground, I think. Am I saying that right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I really like this.
Yeah, it's not judgmental film. It's not judging people.
Yeah, it's just...
you know, like the Lindsay Pulsifer character, the mother, right? You could easily judge her. And then John Ashton's very complicated. I love that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also due to just selecting really great actors that understand, you know, you're not... that people, there's, you know, have dual natures, or, you know, nobody's...
Yeah, and it was really, what was really nice is that you just let us, like, Haroula just let us explore that. Yeah.
And you couldn't have had very much time, right? I mean, what was the shooting schedule on this film? It was
we had
3 weeks or something?
I think it was, we basically had 3 weeks. And then we had some moments where we were able to do, especially up here in Woodstock, we did some days because it's a similar landscape and waterscape, and we did some shooting up here. While editing, I knew we'd need some stuff at the beginning and the end, and it got too cold at the time that we shot the film, so we had to wait and then do some of her in nature just on her own, a couple of days of that. So yeah.
Well, again, the name of the film is Once Upon a River. It is having another screening at Woodstock this Sunday. If you're anywhere around Woodstock or planning to come to the festival, at Upstate Films in Woodstock, right here in town at 3:45.
I wanted to tell you that we're like a third of the way through our festival run, and we have a lot. And so from here we go to Nashville, where because of your music love, I wanted to mention that we're playing in Nashville next week, the 10th and the 11th of October. And the 11th, we're also doing a Songwriter in the Round. I'm going to play Peter Bradley Adams, J.D. Souther, Rodney Crowell, and Will Oldham can't make it, but he has, there's all these original songs. Like, it's very cool. Like, people like fell in love with the script, and they either at some point or another were going to be in it as actors, but then, you know, things didn't turn out that way.
It's a lot of
and also I think it's better to have people who are actually actors, you know, like so
and actors appreciate that.
There
must be, I know I talk to actors all the time, so there's must be like the stunt casting kind of idea. Sometimes it works, but like Levon Helm could actually act. But
what I mean. Like, I wanted someone, because John Ashton's character, I made him a musician, like an aging musician in this. Yeah. And I added that element, and I wanted it to be someone who could actually play. But then it just turned out better because John Ashton's such an incredible actor. I mean, his performance, like every moment, is very authentic, and he can play a musician.
I was gonna say, and he was a drummer before he was ever an actor too. Yeah. John Ashton was a drummer.
He's done everything.
Well, I'm glad you brought that. So it's going to Nashville. And you're going to have this musical component to with the screening. That's fantastic. I wish I could be there.
I wish you could be there too. You should come.
Easier said than done, but I was a juror at Nashville a few years ago.
See, you could hook this up. We could just call them.
Brian, is that the...
I don't know if Brian's there anymore, but I've been in touch with someone named Lauren who's really cool. And then from Nashville, we go to Palermo, Italy. We're up for this really cool award. I know, tough life. And then Chicago International, and then we keep touring it around the country. So I should get you a screening schedule or something.
Sure, yeah. Let me support the film as much as I'm serious. I'd love to help in any way I can.
Thank you.
Because I really feel like it is a very satisfying experience. You have so many great actors also. It's just besides Coby and Kenadi.
Lindsay played a very complicated role. Very multidimensional.
Was that one day for her?
She was there for a total of, I think it was 3 days.
Oh, 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's good to see her grow as I haven't seen her in that kind of role. I've always seen her in these. She does really offbeat stuff,
She's great. She also, like Coby, they're the nicest people ever, and they in the film have to play these very complicated people.
Indeed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, it's satisfying. I mean, it's got to be really satisfying because you get that a lot in theater, but not always in films.
And as an actor who generally plays the nice guy, it's great to be able to branch out a bit. So thank you.
If you would shave, you'd look really friendlier.
I know. I should do that now.
Well, let's go upstairs and shave.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll shave
party.
I'll join you guys.
That'd be a good way to bookend the podcast. Just you guys shaving together.
Again, a Sunday, and then Nashville, and then Palermo, and then after that, it's still a bunch. Chicago Film Festival.
We have 3 screenings in Chicago, and that'll be cool because that's where we shot, about an hour north of Chicago.
Oh, okay, right.
In Antioch, Illinois.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Is there a website or is it Facebook or something like that where you can see
There's
the dates?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay,
and
great.
We always intend to do a website, which I think we'll get to very soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of screenings coming up. We're basically on tour with the film, and we've been on some Native American reservations with because some of our casting is of that background, and so it's been a cool experience.
Thank you guys. It was nice meeting you guys.
Yeah,
and a lovely film.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime. We'll do it again.
Yes. Yeah.